Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Happy Tuesday. I hope that your day is going absolutely well, especially if it's just started. I hope that you can just get a jump start on your day. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I hope that you actually truly believe that. If you're already in the middle of your day, I hope that it's going good. But if it's not, if it's kind of crappy, if it's lame, things have, turned upside down, as I feel like this time period is really causing things to do. I encourage you, as I do in most episodes, except for yesterday when I forgot and I did it at the end of the episode. That was a first. But I encourage you to take at least 5 minutes to be by yourself, to find some peace, find some quiet, give yourself some grace, come up with a plan on how to problem solve whatever crap you're going through so that you're able to make tomorrow a fantastic day. And like I've mentioned before, you can literally make 5 minutes from now a new fresh start, a new day if you want to. I know typically it's easier for people to just wash the rest of the day and then take the next day by storm, which is totally fine. But I would encourage you that if you are going to do it that way, that you also take a moment to just, recoup and get back to baseline. But then try not to wash out the rest of the day. Try to, stay as positive as you can, kind of at least be neutral so that if you are with a partner or a spouse or children, you don't negatively affect them with whatever's going on with you. I know that can be really hard, and maybe you lean on your spouse or your partner, and that's fine. I would come to them openly and be like, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what's going down. But I'd be very careful to immediately try to blanket everything and everyone else in your life with your bad day because you feel like things are just ruined when, and honestly, you are in charge of your mindset, and you can just decide to be fine and kind of push it to the side until you have a moment to deal with it, which might not be until the next day. So just a little tip on that. But again, happy Tuesday. This week we are talking about emotions, which I thought is very helpful because I know, including myself, a lot of us are dealing with things like anxiety and depression and anger and panic. And I thought it'd be really good to talk about a couple of those each day this week to kind of, talk about how you can identify if you are struggling with those issues and what to do if you are, and how to manage it yourself at home a little bit. But again, as I say most episodes, it is not a bad thing to reach out for help, to get professional help, to find someone else to help you figure out what's going on in your mind if you do not have the capacity to do it yourself, or those in your life don't have the capacity to help you with that. So please do not feel self-conscious or ashamed of that, because it is nothing to be ashamed of. Many of us go to counseling, including myself, on the regular. So today is Tuesday, and today we are talking about anxiety, something that I know so well because, it's kind of like my BFF, it hangs around all the time. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. Anxiety is something that I struggle with on the daily, and sometimes my anxiety turns into a panic attack, and everything feels downhill from there, but it's not if you can learn how to recover from these feelings. And recovering from having an anxiety attack, or even worse, a panic attack, is a really good skill to learn, especially if you are someone that is experiencing dealing with this emotion on the regular. You're always feeling anxious. You have that problem of being able to bring yourself down. And maybe you don't necessarily have that mental health support system in your life. It's really good to know some tips on how to bring yourself down so that you don't drive yourself crazy and become super overwhelmed. So first off, anxiety can look different for everyone, but I wanted to highlight a few symptoms that can help you identify if you are struggling with anxiety and maybe don't know it. Some people might think that they're just feeling weird, they're just feeling off. Maybe they don't have the capacity to reach out to a medical professional to help them diagnose that. I am not saying that I'm a doctor at all whatsoever. I'm just saying that through my research, these are the symptoms that I found that are things to really think about. Also, if you are struggling to be able to afford mental health care, I would encourage you to, get online, Google some resources to find free mental health care. There are so many resources out there, and I think at some point later this week, I will spend some time to find those resources so that I can make them available to people if you don't want to spend the time or you don't even know where to look or you don't know. I think that'd be really helpful for everyone. But, so let's just jump in to those. If you are constantly worrying about everything, you are struggling with anxiety. Not being able to set your worry aside and relax can be very exhausting and press nonstop stress. So, and it's a constant worry, because like if you're worrying here or there, you're like, oh, I wonder if this is how this is going to turn out. And you're able to move on from it very easily. I'm not saying you don't necessarily have anxiety, but if you are constantly worrying about everything, then you probably are struggling with anxiety if you haven't already been able to identify that. It's just a constant rage in your mind, that actually exhausts your mind to a point where you feel like, if you spent a whole day worrying, like let's say you go to work and if you were to go to work or be in work mode, however you want to frame it, especially during this time period, and you're just worrying about every little thing during your job, and then after work, when you're home with your family or, you transitioned from your office to the living room, and it's just continually weighing over you, you aren't able to step away from that mind frame, like that's definitely going to be like one of those symptoms that you might need to check out. You might be struggling with anxiety if you are suffering from that. An increase in negativity and irritability can be a cue that you are struggling with anxiety. Anxiety can really turn people inward, so thinking that people are against you and seeing everything as dark, negative, and hopeless coincides with these feelings. So if you feel like that is a constant burden over you, that you feeling often negative and irritable and just really feel like there is no hope in the world, you might be suffering from anxiety. You might also be dealing with a little bit of depression too, but we're highlighting anxiety right now, so you might actually be struggling with anxiety. Difficulty sleeping is another symptom. Every once in a while, not sleeping well is one thing, but if it is happening all the time, over and over and over, because you can't turn your brain off, worrying over things is a whole other thing, If you find that you actually try to go to bed on a schedule and you just sit there and your mind is racing, or you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night because your mind is racing because it's still worrying and overthinking about things, even while your brain is trying to take a rest, like your whole body's trying to rest, like that's definitely a red flag. It's something to really think about if it's a constant thing, like every now and again, but if it's a constant thing, that's definitely a red flag. Trouble concentrating is a big one. If you cannot focus on one thing because your brain is going back and forth from thought to thought, then anxiety could definitely be an issue. And then the last one I want to highlight is feeling out of control and sometimes transitioning into uncontrollable panic attacks. So this is something I experience. I haven't experienced a panic attack in a while now. They used to come all the time. And it's so scary. I feel like every single time I'd go into one and then I can't move. I can't do anything. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack or I am having a heart attack. Like, it's a really scary experience, especially like the first few when you don't know what the heck is happening and you think you are having a heart attack. But yeah, when you're just feeling out of control, that's definitely something that I experience more often still than I used to. I used to feel like it a lot. I just feel like I couldn't get a grasp on anything. Nothing was within my control. I was worrying about how everything was going to turn out, whether it was all going to work out, whether I forgot a step, all of these kind of things. So I feel like if you just want to review that list in your mind, do you feel like any of those things are weighing heavily on you, then you could definitely have an issue with anxiety. And when you let your anxiety take control of you, you literally are not in control. And if you have control issues, like it's just like a cherry on top. So you really need to, I really, really, really encourage you to take hold and grasp of your anxiety and really, get it in control so that it doesn't control you. Feeling overwhelmed with so many things to do and not being able to really express how you feel can cause you to experience that out of control feeling. A lot of times when you are feeling anxious and worrisome and just don't even you're so irritable, but people are like, well, what's going on? How can I help you? But you can't even figure out like in what capacity they could help you. You can't even describe what's going on, which I feel like if you were at that point and you don't have enough support in your life to really help you, or they don't know you well enough to like get inside your mind and help you really break it down, then it's a point where you need to seek professional help so they can help you kind of unravel what is happening, so you are able to express yourself, tell people what is going on, tell those people that are supporting you in your life so that they can help you and become that strong support system that you really need if you're feeling out of control and just overwhelmed. Anxiety is manageable, which, I said it from the beginning, but you have to know how to get through each day if you take it day by day and seek help if needed. Again, the whole seeking help thing. I am not against it. I am so for it, like 1,010%. And it's something that we shouldn't be ashamed about anymore. It's something I feel like should be flaunted more. Like, oh, counseling, what a great thing. I have found this great resource in my life that can help me figure out what the heck's going on so that I can get back on that road, that journey of being my best self and feel strong in my mind and be able to move forward. And it's so good. I don't know how else to describe counseling as just so good, just mind-blowing happiness after I come out of my counseling sessions. I will preface that with the fact that you do need to make sure that you find someone that you align with that's actually going to help you. And if you do not feel like they are helping you, I encourage you to take a step back, evaluate that relationship that you've created, and if it's not helping you anymore, to find someone else. Because from personal experience, at one point I did spend too much time with one counselor because I was afraid to leave and disappoint them, and that just means there are so many things I wasn't gaining from them, learning from them. There was not a lot of growth happening. And so once I stepped back from that person and found someone else that really fits and clicks right now for the season of life I'm in right now, it's been great. But there might come a time where that season of life, is coming to an end and I need to find someone else. Don't feel bad about that either. We're all going through different seasons of life. It's important to understand where you are, what your needs are, and to figure out how you can accommodate them. Some things that help me manage my anxiety, besides taking things day by day, because you will be less overwhelmed if you learn how to take things day by day as opposed to week by week, month by month. It's fine to plan things out and put things down in writing, but then once you do that and you plan it all out, take it day by day because things can change on the fly all the time. So some things that help me are to find a way to ground yourself, come back to baseline, which I say at the top of most episodes, that if you are having a bad day or feeling anxious or whatever is going on, if you just find 5 minutes to yourself of peace and quiet, or maybe it's like putting on your favorite jams and your favorite songs in the background and just taking some time to feel peace, to feel joy, rattle off some things in your mind that you feel grateful for, take some deep breaths in and out, and then if you need to take a moment to problem solve whatever's going on, do that too. And that's the kind of thing that helps me come back to baseline and just feel neutral again and able to go back out into the world again and continue on with whatever's happening. Also, knowing your triggers is really important, figuring out what is actually triggering your reactions, your emotions, what's coming out, what's making you feel overwhelmed. Keep everything in perspective. That is super important, and that goes along, I feel like, with taking things day by day. Just realize that not everything is meant to overwhelm you. People are not out to get you. People are not out there trying to make your life hard. I mean, there's probably some people out there trying to make your life harder. Let's be real. But not everyone. There's a lot of people in your life that want you to be better. They're rooting for you. They know that you are going to be better each and every day and continue to grow into that strong person that you are working towards. But you just need to keep everything in perspective and know that it's not all about you or people trying to come out to get you. Focus on the present, which again goes back to the day by day again, focusing on what's happening right now as opposed to what might have happened, what could happen, what did happen in the past, and like thinking and framing that for the future. Just focus on what's happening right now and focus on what you can control, which is so helpful, especially if control issues like me. I like to, especially during this time period that we're in right now with the virus and everything happening, I think it's really important to focus on what we can control, what is within our grasp. That'll really, really help you to not lose your mind, and to know that those little things you're in control of can make you just feel comfortable and confident in what you're doing and keeping everything together. And the last one is to find a distraction, which I feel is very practical. It's always a suggestion on the list of any list that you might Google of how to combat your anxiety. And I think distractions are great. A lot of times for me, a distraction will be like watching a show or, working out, going on a walk, reading a book, whatever it is, taking a shower. This morning I needed distraction. I decided to learn how to curl my curly hair. Whatever it is, find a distraction, something that'll take you away from your crazy, and I don't mean crazy in a negative way. I mean just crazy, overwhelming thoughts that can just give you a break to think about something totally mindless and fun. That's definitely help. But I wanted to end this by saying that anxiety is normal. Nothing you should be ashamed of, and again, very manageable. If you figure out those different ways to really combat those feelings and how you're doing in the moment and be able to, pull yourself out of anything super overwhelming, those worrisome thoughts, find the things that are going to help you manage it, then you're going to be golden and be able to, go through your normal life and not feel so worn down and you're going to have a mental breakdown because you haven't figured out what to do about all this anxiety. It's important to figure out how to manage it so that you can go about your regular life and accomplish your goals and dreams that you're actually out there working for. So I'm going to end it there. Thanks again so much for coming back and listening to the podcast, guys. I really appreciate it. Again, happy Tuesday. I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you have and you feel like it could benefit someone else, I really encourage you to go ahead and share it. If you need any notes, please check the description box. I have all the notes in there for every time for every episode. And I also have where you can find me on Instagram, or if you want to send me an email. Even if you have prayer requests, go ahead and drop me an email or a DM on Instagram. I would love to hear from you, and I will respond. I hope that you have a good one. I hope that this week is going really well for you. And just remember that every day is a new day, new opportunities, new chances, just brand new, and even if people are on the next day are bringing up old crap that happened, just know you still have an opportunity to win the day, okay? So have a good one. I can't wait. I hope you come back tomorrow for Wednesday's episode, but for now, have a good one, and thank you so much. Bye, guys.